We are back, and we are going to be covering Rob Feinstein because he's really been back as it relates to wrestling again for some reason. Because Top 10's Wrestling, I think somebody else made a video regarding Feinstein and what happened.
So when did these? So I guess for those of us who are uninitiated, who is he?
So Rob Feinstein is the founder of Ring of Honor, and he is the founder of RF Video.
He was used to produce videos for ECW.
The Ring of Honor was basically created to fill the void that they were doing with ECW.
Right.
But he's also the pioneer of shoots. So shoot interviews. If you've seen this logo, this backdrop, this is Rob Feinstein's company.
Oh, yeah.
So very much a large contribution regarding podcasting for with wrestling, regarding indie wrestling, and also general exposure because he was very much one of the first and very prominent tape exchange guys as it relates to wrestling as well because of his distribution of RF Video. In 2004, he was caught by Perverted Justice. Yes, that Perverted Justice with To Catch a Predator, trying to communicate and meet with a 14-year-old boy. Now, it took me a minute to find this because
Now, what is this? This
is the chat.
This is the chat with Perverted Justice.
Yes, this is the chat with Perverted Justice.
And why are we talking about this now?
Because
obviously because of the videos, but when was this manuscript, I guess?
This happened in 2004.
Okay. And we were just talking about this because
there are a couple of other YouTubers who brought it up.
Yep.
He's right now, Feinstein has been kind of on a war path as it relates to any content by him. So we're going to poke the bear a bit.
Okay.
Now, there will be a link to this in the description. If you try to find this on Perverted Justice website, you will not. They have not been active in a long time. But this is through the Wayback Machine. And we also have a video of when Feinstein was caught. He was caught by an affiliate with NBC in Philadelphia because that's where the Sting House was. It was not done by Hanson, unfortunately, and it's only 30 seconds, but that will be how we wrap up the show. We're going to be reading.
I don't think we're going to read the whole thing.
Oh, that's what I was thinking about doing, like reading pretty much everything.
Oh, let's not read the whole thing, and we'll just do the highlights.
Right. Now, we will have the side-by-side here. Peanut Gallery needs to ask more questions, apparently. But yes, we will kind of do we'll kind of do a page-by-page
sort of analysis of what's going on.
Yes, and I will be scrolling through so you can read it yourself, but I will also link in the description of the full transcript. Without further ado, let's get on with it.
So RF Wrestling is obviously Feinstein.
Yes.
And then Part A brand is Perverted Justice.
Yes.
/ a lot of masquerading.
Yes.
So essentially this first page talks about this is a first conversation.
Yes.
And it's basically talking, basically trying to get to know each other. Perverted Justice apparently send pictures, which we don't have, obviously, and we will not be showing any pictures if we do have
So actually, this is sort of how this worked in these chats. So with AOL,
this is IM chat.
Yes, this is an IM chat. You find a profile, and they have a profile picture. And that is what Feinstein is saying of you're wrong, you're hot. Also, the grammar in pretty much all of this is absolutely atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
Also, what is with yeppers? For some reason,
Yeppers, I think, is a very early 2000s sort of.
Yeah, this is 2004. The Ring of Honor Wrestling URLs are fine. Also, Kuel. Kewl.
God.
Kuel.
Feinstein is getting pics. He is also getting a map quest link to the house, the bust house.
Yes,
because obviously Feinstein knows that Feinstein doesn't know that this is not who they say it is.
To his knowledge, this is a 14-year-old boy.
Yes.
There is a lot in this actually regarding the entire chat, and this is a long chat too. They chatted for about 5 days, and they had 2 phone calls.
And if you look at how late this is like 10 o'clock in the evening.
Yep.
So if you have a 14-year-old at 10 o'clock in the evening, usually that's not a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah, the map quest to the bus house. A lot of these chats actually started a lot later, and then I think day 2 they got a little bit earlier on that. But you're kind of seeing sort of how it goes, where Feinstein does not like gay guys, but he likes straight acting guys. Apparently, that's a thing in the gay community where, he doesn't like flamboyant guys. He likes more guys. That's an interesting sort of juxtaposition on there. The first part of this entire chat was fairly tame as it relates to sexual content.
Yeah, it wasn't, because these two have never met. This is the first chat ever. And
they exchanged a couple of pics. They talked about the job.
Yep. And there's both of them know that the mark being 14-year-olds are going to lie about their age.
Yes. But at the same time,
they still do it to get on things like Facebook.
But he did say, the person did say, where are you? It's 14 damn. I'm going to pretend you said 18.
Yep.
Now, at first, sometimes you don't have to put an age in this. This is way early on as it relates to it. But as soon as you said 14, I am sorry, I am leaving this, bye-bye. And then no problem. You said you're hot, but at that time you didn't know his age.
Yep. Don't
know the age yet, right? The other thing about what Feinstein did here,
what I think is interesting is that he talked about the older sister and the older sister 17, and then he says, "Damn, that's a senior." What?
Yeah, that's super sketchy, by the way.
Yeah,
it was way weird. I think he might have thought senior in high school or something like that, because I think they talked about schooling as well within the entire thing. But Feinstein mentioned, because the phone calls that when it happened, I think they weren't at the end. I think they did these phone calls like during the chat.
Yeah.
So they talked for a little bit, and
because with IM chat you can also do voice.
Yes. But he mentioned that he sounded a lot older. That the boy sounded a lot older than what a 14-year-old boy would sound like. But the decoy said, "Oh, I look and sound 18 so I can get cigarettes as well." And that was something that was brought up as well.
And Feinstein always asked for more pictures.
That was really weird.
He also talked about getting on camera as well, wanting a webcam and talk in person, which I also thought was very unsettling.
But here's the thing: a lot of those are Catfish 101.
Yeah.
So what I learned back in the day, when you're being catfished, try to, now especially within these sexual chats, if they're willing to meet up and fuck you, ask for nudes. Because if they're willing to meet up and fuck, they're okay with nudes, because it wouldn't make sense if they didn't do that, right? But also ask for very specific pictures. What I learned is, if you don't want to, ask to take a picture of the person taking a selfie with their pinky on their left earlobe, because that is a picture that cannot exist unless you're actually talking to the person.
Right.
Which is a very smart move.
Yes. And Feinstein talked a lot about his ex-boyfriend that he had for 2 years.
Yes. And also, he said it was 20 in this conversation. I think he actually was 20 in this conversation as well.
Oh.
Yeah. He said he was 20, but they got together at 18. Also, this is not a bash against gay or anything like that.
No.
He's talking to a 14-year-old.
Yeah, I think the issue at hand here is that he is talking to someone who is clearly underage and talking about a lot of very adult things.
Yeah. Also, another thing that what Feinstein did, and I noticed this because when I gave Peanut Gallery this, I highlighted certain sections so we can sort of illustrate, how it clumps. What Feinstein does is that he sends a lot of messages in big clumps.
Yes.
So instead of like a sentence or whatever, he will send the kid like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like boom, 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 boom text of just one big text.
And another thing that he does too is he sent a lot of pictures of him with famous wrestlers, like with Eddie Guerrero.
He spelled Eddie wrong, and it bothered me immensely. But Feinstein apparently does not know how to fucking spell for shit because he spelled weird things weird. I know. It was a very weird conversation.
I think what this is that it's just messaging. So, he's trying to talk like a kid too.
Right. I wonder if that was a plan because I didn't even think about that. It's like I wonder if some of these things like Yeppers and and KK and all of that stuff that he put in here was, there. Yeah.
He also talks about how very, very sexual sort of I guess encounters with even girls and stuff. Like he wants to talk about the kid's sex life.
Yep.
And again, you should not be messaging a 14-year-old and talking about this stuff. It's just...
Now, if you don't know if they're 14 right now, then obviously you just don't know. But, I've done these message rooms before, and I have in the past, and, with the fans, I talk with you guys too. But, I mean, I've come across younger kids that watch our show. I mean, I've never sexted or do anything sexual with any of my fans at all. That's the recipe for disaster. But always verify age. Do always ASL. Age, sex, location. Right. Always.
And another thing that I noticed too is he's always trying to get to go to the kid's house. He's
it was almost immediate too.
It was
really
which
early
is
on.
Really weird. It was within the first 10 minutes of this conversation. This conversation goes on for quite a while.
Day one is a long chat. They talked for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
He always asking for webcams, always asking for more pics, always asking to go to the
house,
the person's house. And then with this particular chat, he even talks about getting together with the sister as well.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm just like, okay, so I think for him it's more of the kid thing, maybe.
Because I mean, even with that 17-year-old, that is still predator behavior. Also, I was looking this up, and apparently predators go after teenagers, and they're predators. There's a huge distinction between predators and pedophiles. Pedophiles go more after children, I think, to a certain age, and then babies, 5 or younger. It's a totally different language. But I was looking that up while doing research for this topic.
And they are talking about meeting up very soon. This chat was done at 10 o'clock at night, 11:15 at night, and then he talks about wanting to go over tomorrow. Or wanting the sister to drop him off tomorrow at his place. And it's just...
How would that conversation go about even with a sister? It's like, hi, can you drop me off at this person's house? This person is 20.
Which... Rob Feinstein was not 20 at this point in time.
Oh, he wasn't?
I don't think he was.
I think he said he was 20. I could be wrong.
Well, I think he said he was 20.
I think he said he just turned 20. Oh. I could be wrong.
And, that's just, and it's still weird.
Yeah, so when we get into day 2, that's when it gets really strange. So I'm at now day 2. I'm kind of scrolling with chunks, just trying to make sure that people have the opportunity to read. But like I said, link it in the description.
A lot of it is just talking, like normal people talking.
Yep. I don't think there were any nudes or anything exchanged. That was the one thing at least I can say about Feinstein is that he did not send a dick pic or anything, which I never fucking understood.
So at the very beginning of day 2 is Rob sends a little kiss emoji.
Yep, he did.
At the very beginning.
He also sends quite a few emojis, very old school emojis when you have to type it out with the characters. So that was kind of a weird thing. It's like, wow, he's really ahead of the game here. There's a release of emojis.
And day 2 starts off with talking about where the house is and like what type of neighborhood it is. Because like, well, is this a development? Is this a private, like acreage of land, that sort of thing. Because he wants to know like how much exposure he's going to have.
Yeah, that was another thing.
And it does look like he was 20 in this chat.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's like, I just turned 20, so he was younger.
Yeah, he was, but it's still just weird, man. This is where they start. This is also the chat in which they start having the phone call. Like he gives out the number and then starts calling,
right,
or attempting to call the kid, the 14-year-old.
Well, no, they had 2 conversations.
Mm-hmm.
They had the conversation where he said, "Oh, he sounds older," and then there was another one about more details on location. We'll get down to it here in a little bit, so give us some time. I'm still on day 1. There we go.
Yeah.
Now we're in day 2. But yeah, no, that day 1 chat went from, oh God, what was it? Like
10, a little after 10
to almost midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely know that Rob Feinstein was jerking the chicken while in that chat.
Oh, yeah.
The second one, look at how early it starts. It starts at noon.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like, okay, now we're just talking more generalization-wise.
And I can tell that the kid is starting to act a little nervous about meeting up with the guy.
Feinstein did too.
Yeah, Feinstein was also kind of nervous about the whole exchange. So I don't know why. I don't know how many times he's had this experience before, but
that's when Feinstein had the red flags regarding if this was an actual kid, is when they actually made the phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he was really nervous. You see, right here is like, I'm just nervous. That is all, when you call before someone came here. And he also even talked about as long as you're not police, as well. So it's like he knows that what he's doing here is very, very illegal.
Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the gist of chat 2.
Now, at the same time, I am going to ask this, and I'm going to at least be devil's advocate. Do you believe that there is a immaturity aspect with Feinstein regarding not only his age, but also how early the internet was at this time? Because keep in mind, this is 2004. This is through like AOL chat rooms. So I think there was a little bit of a immaturity in not knowing the power that the internet has at this time. I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't condone it, but I'm saying, there could be an argument stemming from the immaturity aspect of not knowing the internet super strongly at this time, but also being 20. Because I know when I was 20, I made my fair share of mistakes. Not talking to kids, but I've made my fair share of mistakes.
You're right.
I think.
And chat 3 really dives into just trying to get at this address, and it was it was also still very, very much.
And here's another thing that I noticed is that these chats. So with day 2, there were 4 or 5 different chats. So they chatted, they stopped, they chatted, they stopped.
And these were in the middle of the day too.
Yes. So this one was like at 3:15 and the other one ended like right after 3:05. So there was a gap there where there was not really much happening when it was coming to their chats. It's like, I wonder if...
So day 4 really just starts with the admission that he doesn't feel comfortable because the person is under 18.
Right. But then he shows up. So I'm just like, okay. Also, there's some language in here, like right here, hot, nice, and not faggy. Keep in mind that the sensitivity regarding 2004 was very different.
Yeah.
So don't, think that, oh my God, he's homophobic because of that. That's just like being a homophobic, being gay. That's very strange.
And it does not sound like, so with this though, because the nervousness really shows up on chat number 4 in day 2.
Yep.
because I don't know how much experience he has with this. It's really weird.
Of meeting up online. Once again, this is very primitive chat.
Yes.
Very primitive.
Mm-hmm.
So, what can you do at this point? I'm on chat 5 for the audience right now.
Yeah, I'm on chat number 5 as well, day 2. It's very much the same. It's very similar.
Yep.
They keep adding the address, removing the address, adding the address, removing because I don't think he knows what the next step is.
Right.
Because he's saying, well, yeah, I can come over and meet you, but no sex, that sort of thing.
Yep. And they really got strangely sexual, I think, in chat 6. I could be wrong on that. No, it wasn't chat 5 where they were really talking about the sex stuff. It was very strange. So now chat day 2 is very much, now they're on like a first name basis. It's Tom and Rob at that point. I think they started doing that chat 2 day 2. But now chat 6 is very much, we're just going.
Right. So after chat number 5,
I kind of wish there was audio of the chat
now we go to the calls.
So the calls, this is based on recollection. This is entirely based on memory. And that's what it actually discloses in the actual Perverted Justice chat. I really goddamn wish they had that recorded because they did that with To Catch a Predator.
Yep, they did. And chat 16 really, call 1 just goes through the same sort of stuff again about like meeting up.
Directions, I don't care, it's odd, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
The boy is really turned on by his pics, though, with the no sleeves and shit.
I know, that was super...
Well, keep in mind that this is not an actual child. This is Perverted Justice.
Now, once again, devil advocate, do you think, when the kid said, I jerked off to your pics again, do you believe that could possibly be entrapment?
I do not know. Because I do not know how this works.
Because I think with entrapment, it has to be a police officer that initiates the conversation.
Yep.
And Perverted Justice was not a police group. This was a vigilante group. They do something similar to this nowadays. I can't remember the name of the channel, but there's a really popular Kick and Twitch streamer that does something really similar to what Perverted Justice did.
Yeah, and Rob is very paranoid about getting caught. You can obviously tell that he is he's unsure about if this is all turning,
if this is real.
If this is real. Like, if this is not some sort of cop.
Exactly.
He is very paranoid about that.
Yes. Yep, exactly. And that's sort of where it ends. I'm at the very bottom of the chat. I'm not sure.
I'm at the very end of it,
I am too.
So with regards to that, he actually does show up to the house.
Yes. So our next clip is the news clip because he was caught by the news on what happened. It's very brief. It's 34 seconds, but it's clearly Rob Feinstein. There is.
And remember this man?
So that is definitely Rob Feinstein, and they did talk about him. CC, there we go.
Another local man looking for a young girl, but he turned out to be this man, Robert Feinstein, a Langhorne businessman who promotes wrestling events. He has his own website with plenty of pictures of himself.
Yeah.
We tried to catch up with him at his office and his home, but each time he saw us, he ran. And according to his chat log, he thought he was meeting a 14-year-old boy.
Yep, then that's really where it ended. I'm not sure if there was any other clips regarding the situation, but I could not find any. Just keep in mind, this is 2004.
Right. You're not the amount of information is not going to be quite as extensive.
Exactly.
But yeah, it just came up again, and
Rob, if you try to come after us, we did not do anything outside of facts. That was you in the clip.
Yep.
That was presumably you in the chat.
Yep.
I'm going to assume it's you because you're the one who showed up at the house. It's like, unless that's way too coincidental if that's a coincidence. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a fun little down memory lane.
Well, next week we actually have a pay-per-view.
Yes, it's Bad Blood. So we'll do that. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, share, become a patron. The links are down below under me or over Peanut Gallery, and also in the description. If you want to read the full chat, it's a long chat. It gets kind of weird. Once again, link is going to be the first link in the description if you want to check it out. And as always, be
majestic.